He just stood looking at me all night, watching us in bed together.
In his mind, he thinks that he's making normal romantic gestures.
The only way that I could think of protecting myself was to change my name.
Possibly even Kerri's life might be in danger.
My name is Kerri Layton and I outsmarted a stalker. I'm a professional jazz singer and a business coach. I love dog walking, I love singing. So I was with some really good friends of mine and we all went out dancing, just having a brilliant time. And I remember meeting this guy. He was like attractive and I had invited him back to have a one-night stand. You know, I was 19, I'd just broken up with somebody. I was exploring, I was having fun.
People having random sex and one-night stands is a very common occurrence. It's a natural part of human existence. I think the problem can occur when some people misinterpret what that means.
We went into my room and, you know, had sex, and I remember just feeling really uncomfortable. I said to him, look, I shouldn't have done this and I'm not interested in a relationship with you. And I remember him he had this kind of like weird look on his face and I didn't feel good afterwards.
In some situations, something can just feel quite off, but it's not necessarily tangible. This is basically our own human instinct. And I think it's really important to listen to ourselves when our subconscious is telling us that something is not quite right.
Went to work on the Monday and saw him ducking in and out of the hedges on the way to work. When I left work at like 4:30, he was there waiting for me, followed me home. Am I imagining this? Is it a coincidence? I remember getting home that night and there being some flowers on the porch waiting for me.
I think in his mind, he thinks that he's making normal romantic gestures. So in psychological terms, we would call this incompetent suitor. The incompetent suitor is a category of stalker. They usually don't intentionally try and scare or intimidate their target. They believe that what they're doing is romantic. They think that they're wooing the individual. They usually don't understand social norms, so they don't realize that what they're doing can be perceived as being quite creepy and it can alienate their targets.
That was it then, a 2-year back-to-back campaign of harassment that just did not stop. Endless text messages, endless phone calls, turning up outside work, following me places. My dad was saying to me, go to the police, please go to the police. And I was so ashamed that I just felt like I couldn't tell anybody.
I think it speaks to the hypocrisy within our society. Females who are in this situation might feel that they might be judged by people on the outside. It can be a barrier for people like Kerri trying to seek help from the authorities. This is completely unfair because she is the victim.
The messages gradually started to get darker. You should be with me, you fucking crazy bitch. You crazy bitch. How dare you ignore me, you fucking whore. We had that one special night together. I know you love me. It was really intense.
It seems that the perpetrator's actions and motivations are changing from an incompetent suitor to a resentful stalker. Resentful stalkers feel in some way that they've been mistreated. They feel a sense of injustice, and this really comes out in the perpetrator's words.
Around this time, me and my best friend got really close and we realised that we were madly in love with each other and started a relationship. My stalker found out that I'd got with a woman and he ramped up his stalking, his harassment, his abuse. He was messaging me like 10, 15 times a day. You crazy how dare you? I know you're not gay. We were just hanging out in my room and I just remember having this feeling of being watched, and I looked up at the window and I just saw him looking in at us in bed. I don't know how long he'd been there. I just absolutely lost my shit. He jumped over that wall laughing again, this manic laugh. How dare he be watching us in bed together? Sick fuck. I was very shaken up after that. I was away travelling for 4 years. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we broke up during our travels. I came back to the UK, changed my number, really thought that must be it. Much later on in my career, I started getting some really disturbing messages on my Facebook profile. I just knew it was him, and his emails were coming more and more frequently, suggesting that we were in love with each other and I'd run off with somebody without him, and I was the only friend that he'd ever known.
Having worked with victims of stalking, I can't think of a case where it's lasted this period of time. I imagine that he has little social support and he spends most of his time ruminating with these thoughts about Kerri just festering in his mind.
My career was really taking off, so I was gigging a lot in jazz clubs, and what happened next is the most terrifying part of the story, because he appeared at one of my events. This is hundreds of miles away from where he lives. He laid a bouquet of dead flowers on the stage. And he said to me, "I told you I was coming."
Dead flowers to me is a veiled threat. It's showing that he might take this further. He might be physically assaultative, and possibly even Kerri's life might be in danger.
I was having hysterical panic attacks. I called the police and they came an hour after he turned up. He'd gone. My life was destroyed at that point. The only way that I could think of protecting myself now in this situation and still enabling myself to have a career in live music was to change my name so that he wouldn't find me. And I went out under various aliases under my agency and events business and record label, and I made up multiple personas and multiple bands.
Changing her identity, although it's understandable to me, it seems really unfair. All the inconvenience, all the onus is on her, and she is the victim.
The next thing that I decided to do at this point was to hire a bodyguard so that I had backup. My anxiety was so bad by this point. I decided around that time to get myself a dog for extra security and companionship, because I felt so lonely at that period of my life. She became my therapy dog. I take her everywhere with me to keep me safe. In public, at home, she's very protective of me. I felt a really strong urge to empower myself and wanted to become the most physically strong I'd ever been. I completely fell in love with Muay Thai kickboxing. It was so empowering to learn self-defense. It was fun to be disciplined, conditioning my body so that I could physically defend myself if I had to. And subconsciously, I was surrounding myself with really physically strong, capable men that I could call on.
She's actually empowering herself. I can do something about this. I can protect myself. If he approaches me, I can strike back.
So after he turned up at my gig and I felt very unsupported by the first responders on the 999 call, I felt really disempowered. And the only way that I knew I was going to get him arrested was to take the matter into my own hands and become my own detective. They couldn't get him arrested because they couldn't find out where he was living. So I had to enlist the support of people that I trusted and start to talk about what was going on. And I hadn't done that. Up until that point, I started to really talk. They began ringing around and just finding out where he was. And before long, we'd found out where he was living.
This is such a significant internal cognitive shift. She's enlisting the help of other people. She's being open about her traumatic experiences. Something's changed. She's no longer this victim.
I think it took 7 days to actually find him and have him arrested. I'll never forget the words when my detective called me up and he said, "We've got him." At the end of the court hearing, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
I don't know the specifics of this case, but I do wonder if in his delusional mind, he actually literally believed that he was in a relationship with Kerri. I think there's a fine balance between punishing people for stalking and giving them rehabilitation in psychiatric units. If his behaviours were led by mental illness, and if this can be treated, then I think it's the right thing to do because it decreases the risks that there might be for future victims.
I fought all the way to the end and put myself through cross-examination, took it to the magistrates' courts to press charges to make sure that I got an absolute indefinite lifelong restraining order. Which means that if he does come anywhere near me now, he gets automatically arrested, 5 years in jail.
Kerri's determination and behaviour really speaks to her bravery. She puts herself under cross-examination. She fights to get a lifelong restraining order. She's no longer this victim.
I learned so many life skills during that whole process that I now coach other performers how to set up their businesses under adversity and giving them the skills and strength to really come out of their own shadows and step into the light and own their voices.
What Kerri's done here is amazing. She's turned the situation around. She's used it to fuel herself to do other things with her life. So I'm very impressed at her resolve and her strength of character. Well done, Kerri.